So, my topic this morning is it's never as good as the first time. I heard that. Okay, now those of you who came this morning because you think you know what this title is about, I only have one thing to say. Shame on you. Shame on you. You know, when I went home in July, my sister gave me this photo of myself from about 25 years ago. And when I looked at the photo, I was completely shocked. I looked at this photo and I said, man, I was gorgeous. I was absolutely gorgeous. And for the rest of the evening, I kept looking at this photo and I kept thinking to myself how wonderful it would be to get back to being that me again that I was in the photo. Yeah. I just kept thinking, we were talking and laughing, and I just kept, but this is really good. Wouldn't it be great to get back to this? And I went to bed, and I was thinking about it. I got up the next morning, and I walked around for most of the day, and by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I realized that there was a song that was playing in my ear, that had just been playing in my ear all morning. I'd just been singing it subconsciously all morning. And that's kind of how my messages come. They come from song lyrics, commercials. I love those commercials. But the words I heard myself singing were these. Can it be that it was all so simple then? Or has time rewritten every line? And if we had a chance to do it all again, tell me, would we? Could we? There it was. There it was. Wasn't that the most amazing message coming up from my subconscious? It was exactly what I needed to hear in that moment. Because it was saying, Dar, do you really think that you can go back to the way you were? Dar, do you really think that you can be in that space again? You think you can be that person again, Dar? Because in truth, I can't. I simply can't. I cannot go back to that moment. That image is a snapshot in my mind. It's a snapshot of one moment in time. And I simply cannot reproduce that image. A myriad of things had to happen in order to bring that experience into manifest form. That instant into manifest form. That holy instant. Because that's what every instant is in our lives, isn't it? A holy instant. So even if I weighed the same, even if my hair was the same, even if my clothes were the same, it wouldn't only be different. It simply could never be what it was in that moment. Yeah. How many of you got the picture yesterday? Yeah, that's why I sent it out. Because I realized in that moment, as I realized what I was singing, what the subconscious was sending up through me, I realized in that moment what I had been doing all evening and for most of the day. And I said, you know what? I want to talk about this because I'm probably not the only person who's doing it. I bet there are other people who are trying to get back to something. Trying to get back to the way we were. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus said, "You cannot step in the same river twice." And as I read those words, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get the message from these words of wisdom rather than all the time and effort that we put into trying to get back to something? Just to hear those words. You cannot step in the same river twice. Take it for what it means. Instead of living our lives trying to reproduce a memory, replicate a memory. Memories that, as Barbara said in her song, light the corners of our mind. Misty watercolored memories of the way we were. Or the way other people were. Wouldn't it be wonderful if they would just act like they used to act? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Okay? Or wouldn't it be wonderful if that particular situation, if it could just be the way it used to be again, if we could go back to doing things the way that we used to do them? Wouldn't that just be wonderful? Misty watercolored memories of how good things were back then, how simple things were back then. How good it was to wear that size 6 dress. Although I have to tell you, I have no clue as to what that feels like. Absolutely. How good it was to make that amount of money. How good it was before we lost our jobs. See? How good it was when we felt so much in love with our significant other. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could just get back to that? See, but what we want to understand this morning, and this is basically the lesson, if we're thinking like this, we're not living life. If we're thinking like this, we're trying to live a memory. I guarantee you, pay attention. This is going to come up this week. You're going to see it. You're going to see it in your world. You're going to see it in other people. As you talk to other people, you're going to begin to recognize that many people are not living life. Many of us are not living life. We're trying to recreate a memory. But whatever that particular situation is that we're trying to recreate, what we want to recognize is that it's never going to be that good again because it's never as good as the first time. Now, I know that sounds like a message of doom and gloom, doesn't it? Dar, are you telling us that we're never going to get back to the best times of our life again? Yep. Yep, that's exactly what I'm saying. See, but it's not a message of doom and gloom. It's a message that is a time-saving message, and it can also be a life-saving message, if you can hear it. Years ago, my dear friend Carolyn was sitting, listening to me as I lamented the past. How terrible things are now, how good they were back then. If only things could just go back to the way that they were. And so after she had had quite enough of me, I think, she said, Dar, she said, what's your best time? And I said, I thought it was like a split second. I said, it was when I met my husband. It was wonderful. I said, we used to sit and we used to talk. We used to talk for hours on hours on hours. We lose all track of time. And it was so good. And why did it have to end? And she's finally, after she listened to me for a while, she said, Dar, she said, the best time in your life is not in the past. The best time in your life is not in the future. The best time in your life is always now. And I wanted to say, I know that, but you know what? I didn't know it. I didn't know it because that's not what I was doing. That was not what I was doing. I was trying to replicate something that had passed away. See? That was a life-saving message that she gave me. That experience, I was trying to raise the dead. Think about it. Think about it. Think about what's going on in your life and ask yourself, is that what I'm trying to do? Am I trying to replicate something that has passed away? Am I trying to replicate something that's over? See? Yeah, I know. Oh, I love that energy. Okay, so that experience that I was talking about could never be the best time in my life because the best time in our life is always now. Always now. And if it's not now, then it's a clue. That's a clue for us to pay attention to. Because we're either in this moment, if we're not feeling like this is the best time, we're either reaching back or reaching forward. And our energy is financing whatever it is that we're reaching to. That particular experience, no matter what it was, is never going to be that good again. Years ago, I went to a seminar by Deepak Chopra, and he was talking about addictions, and he was explaining them, and he was saying, the person who's has substance addictions to things like cocaine and crack and heroin, he said that they're addicted because they know that there is a better feeling that they could be having than the experience that they're having right now, and they're searching for that feeling.